Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. LeBron James and Stephen Curry together will certainly be a successful partnership. And this could happen if LeBron asks for a trade, and the Warriors could have a pair of champions seeking their fifth title to crown their brilliant careers. LeBron James has made strong demands of the Lakers, and if they are not met he will ask for a trade, and the Warriors are one of the favorites to sign him. The Golden State Warriors are coming off a season in which they likely feel they let one pass by. After starting the season as one of the hottest teams in the NBA, the Warriors quickly found themselves as the number 12 seed in a loaded Western Conference. Hoping to rectify the season, General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. traded for Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler. From there, the race for the postseason was on. While they went 23-7 with Butler to end the regular season, they barely missed out on a spot in the NBA playoffs and were forced into the NBA play-in tournament. Warriors fans suggesting LeBron James trade after recent Lakers report the Warriors made the playoffs as the number 7 seed after defeating the Memphis Grizzlies in the play-in and matched up with the Houston Rockets. While they emerged victorious from that series, the Rockets had laid the foundation for how to beat the Warriors, consistently using a double-big lineup. Stephen Curry injured his hamstring in the series opener against the Minnesota Timberwolves and fell 4-1. Looking to add more firepower, Warriors fans are suggesting a trade after a recent report that LeBron James had picked up his $52.6 million player option, but is uncertain about the Lakers roster. LeBron James is now uncertain about the Lakers roster moving forward, per at Shams Charania. If Los Angeles doesn't make the necessary win-now moves to compete in the West, LeBron could ask out by a trade. LeBron fully understands LA is building for the future with Luka Doncic. The Warriors trade Kuminga and whoever else to the Lakers for LeBron, speculated one fan. The only three teams that I could see pursue a trade for LeBron would be the Miami Heat, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Golden State Warriors. Knicks are a wild card, but I just don't see it happening, wrote another. LeBron, tell them to trade you to the Warriors, man, begged one fan. The only news that will break the internet is LeBron James getting traded to the Golden State Warriors, claimed another fan. James and Curry have a rivalry that stems back more than a decade. The two have met in the NBA Finals 4 times, with Curry and the Warriors emerging victorious 3 times. If the two indeed joined forces, the Warriors would likely be among the favorites to win the NBA championship in 2026. Warriors predicted to reunite with versatile $25 million wing in free agency. The Golden State Warriors hope to improve the roster meaningfully this summer, but doing that without Jonathan Kuminga as a trade chip is going to prove difficult. Bobby Marks of ESPN predicted on Saturday, June 28, that Golden State would extend Kuminga the $7.9 million qualifying offer that allows them to retain his restricted free agent rights, or, in other words, match any offer another franchise makes to the versatile wing player this offseason. What happens next could be a waiting game. With Brooklyn as the only team that can offer a starting salary of $20 million or more, Golden State would have the right to match. The best option could be both sides exploring a sign-and-trade, Marks wrote. The decision with Kuminga plays a role in what flexibility Golden State has in finding a starting center. However, Bleacher Report's Dan Favale wrote Sunday that an obscure NBA guideline is going to make a sign-and-trade exceedingly difficult, which probably means Kuminga ends up playing his 5th year in the league, and potentially several seasons beyond, in a Warriors uniform. Base year compensation gymnastics complicate any sign-and-trade possibilities unless the Nets are involved. Kuminga will essentially count as only 50% of his new salary to the Warriors, yet his next team has to math out deals to account for the full weight of his new price point, Favale wrote. Re-signing him to preserve the asset and salary slot and figuring out the rest later is Golden State's best bet. This approach gets risky if Kuminga fields a ridiculous offer sheet with an average annual value that could age poorly, but Brooklyn is the lone potential suitor who has the spending power to inflict that kind of discomfort. Warriors can match any offer to Jonathan Kuminga, revisit a trade ahead of NBA's February deadline. That isn't the ideal outcome for Golden State, as head coach Steve Kerr benched Kuminga down the stretch of the regular season and played him sparingly in round 1 of the playoffs against the Houston Rockets. An injury to Stephen Curry in Game 1 of Round 2 against the Minnesota Timberwolves forced Kerr's hand, and Kuminga responded to the challenge by averaging nearly 21 points per game, despite just a 7-point performance over just 13 minutes played in the opening contest. Still, none of that changes the reality that Kuminga's most effective style of play doesn't fit seamlessly with how Kerr wants the offense to run. It also doesn't change Jimmy Butler's presence on the roster for at least the next 2 years, which mitigates the minutes available to Kuminga. But despite the issues of fit and need, a limited free agent market for Kuminga puts the Warriors in a good position to keep him on the roster until at least next February's trade deadline, when flipping him may make more sense and prove less complicated/more lucrative. That bodes well for the Warriors, keeping him at a palatable number, attempting to integrate him into the Jimmy Butler era and then revisiting his fit and market value closer to February's trade deadline, Favale continued. Jonathan Kuminga interested in playing elsewhere than Golden State. Kuminga is uncertain about a potential return to the Warriors in his age 23 season based on his recent comments. Golden State drafted him number 7 overall in 2021 and paid him $25 million over the life of his 4-year rookie contract. Tim Kawakami spoke with Warriors general manager Mike Dunleavy for a piece that ran on June 27 in the San Francisco Standard, and Kuminga was a central topic of conversation. He's a guy who believes in himself, wants to see what he can do. I think ultimately if we're able to bring him back, we see a path for him to be able to do some of those things here, Dunleavy said of Kuminga. I think for him, experiencing free agency, kind of being on the market, for him to go through that, I think there's an appeal to it. By not doing an extension last year, he kind of earned that right. Unfortunately for Kuminga, most teams around the league don't have salary cap space, so the timing of his free agency is working against him. Warriors running out of options after whiffing on ideal free agent target. With Bobby Portis staying in Milwaukee, Golden State must pivot somewhere else. After falling in the second round of the NBA playoffs this season, the Golden State Warriors have some critical offseason decisions to make involving possible additions to their roster as they retool their roster around Steph Curry. With how competitive and talented the Western Conference is, the Warriors need to make a splash this offseason to try and maximize the time that Curry has left. But one player that the Warriors were interested in adding to their roster recently agreed to a new deal with his current team, making the path to adding impact talent more difficult by the Bay. Bucks extend Bobby Portis. The Milwaukee Bucks and forward Bobby Portis agreed to a 3-year extension worth $44 million. The deal includes a player option for 2027 to 28. Portis has spent his last 5 seasons with the Bucks after previous stops with the New York Knicks, Washington Wizards, and Chicago Bulls. Portis averaged 13.9 points per game, 8.4 rebounds, and 2.1 assists, as he has built a reputation as one of the league's most reliable sixth men. The Warriors had been heavily linked to Portis in recent days, as the team needs more depth off the bench at the forward position. Second options for the Warriors at the forward position include Gary Payton II and Jonathan Kuminga, the latter of whom appears to be on the outs after once again falling into Steve Kerr's doghouse during the team's playoff run. With his defensive versatility and scoring ability, Portis seemed to be the perfect fit on Golden State's second unit. Now, though, it's back to the drawing board. What do the Warriors do now? With Portis now off the market as players for the Warriors to sign in free agency, the question is, what does Golden State do from here? While it has been rumored recently, a trade for Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't figure to be much of a possibility for the Warriors. The Warriors could also go after another Bucks player by signing Brook Lopez. Lopez is an excellent defender, and the Warriors putting him at center and moving Green back to the power forward position would create a more balanced lineup for Golden State next season. Lopez has played the last 7 seasons with the Bucks after 1 year with the Lakers and 9 with the Brooklyn Nets. Last season with Milwaukee, Lopez averaged 13.0 points per game, 5.0 rebounds, and 1.8 assists. Beyond that, though, it's tough to know who Mike Dunleavy might target. Porzingis, Portis, and Naz Reid are off the market, and Derek White, Miles Turner and Jared Allen don't figure to be available. Nickeil Alexander-Walker? Convincing the Pelicans to move either Trey Murphy III or Herb Jones? It's awfully tough to find an impact frontcourt player whose team will be willing to send him away and whose contract fits into Golden State's cap situation, but Curry's ability to make another run at a title may depend on it. Warriors exercise team option on 40.8% three-point breakout star. The Golden State Warriors will be limited during the upcoming NBA free agency period, but they just made their first of several small moves. The Warriors exercised their team option on 2024 to 2025 breakout rookie center Quinton Post to keep him on the roster for another year. After making the league minimum as a rookie, Post will earn $1.9 million in 2025 to 2026, per Hoops Hype insider Michael Scotto. Post is one of 3 players the Warriors have a player option on in the upcoming season, joining Brandon Podziemski and Gue Santos. Golden State also picked up Santos' option to bring him back for a third year. Post, a 2024 second-round pick, came on strong late in the year. As Kevin Looney and Tracy Jackson-Davis struggled with consistency, Steve Kerr gave Post 14 starts down the stretch. The Boston College alum averaged 8.1 points, 3.5 rebounds, 1.3 assists and 0.4 blocks in 42 games. As the team's best floor spacing center, Post added to the offense in a way Looney and Jackson-Davis could not. Post hit 40.8% of his three-point attempts as a rookie, the highest clip on the team. He started 2 of the Warriors' 12 playoff games, one against the Houston Rockets and one against the Minnesota Timberwolves. After trading for and subsequently extending Jimmy Butler, the Warriors' cap space is limited in the 2025 offseason. Butler and Stephen Curry will each make over $50 million in the next 2 years, with Draymond Green raking in over $25 million in the span. That gives the 3 stars over $140 million total in the 2025 to 2026 and 2026 to 2027 seasons. Technically, the Warriors tendered a qualifying offer to Jonathan Kuminga for their first free agency move. However, with Kuminga seeking a pay raise as a restricted free agent, he is unlikely to sign the $7.9 million deal. Instead, Golden State reserves the right to match any offer he signs. With Post and Santos now officially signed through the 2025 to 2026 season, the Warriors have 8 players under contract, not including rookies Alex Tui and Will Richard. Jackson Davis, Buddy Hield and Moses Moody round out Golden State's pre-free agency roster. Moody, who will make $11 million in the upcoming season, is the only player other than Curry, Butler and Green slated to earn an 8-figure salary. Golden State clearly needs to add size in free agency and has made that a priority. Brook Lopez, Santi Aldama, Larry Nance Jr. and Mason Plumlee headline the available players who would best fit on the roster. The asking price for Derek White makes things complicated for the Warriors. The Celtics, who are anticipating a down season following the Achilles injury to Jason Tatum, have already dealt 2 key pieces of their roster, sending Drew Holiday to the Portland Trail Blazers and Kristaps Porzingis to the Atlanta Hawks. While they received a reasonable price for both players, including Anthony Simons and a modest sum of draft capital, the franchise is asking for a price for Derek White resembling what the New York Knicks gave up for Mikal Bridges last offseason, 5 first-round draft picks. While the price the Knicks paid for Bridges was certainly more than his value individually, many analysts believed that it was worth the price as a result of the unique need he filled on their roster. White, who averaged 16.4 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 4.8 assists last season with Boston, would certainly fill such a need for Golden State. Following their acquisition of Jimmy Butler, the Warriors had one of the best defenses in the league, and adding White defensive viability and additional offensive punch could transform the team into immediate championship contenders. However, the Warriors only own their next 4 first-round picks, and, while they have indicated they are willing to get aggressive in the pursuit of the right player, are unlikely to move all of those picks for one piece. Such a move would undoubtedly handicap the team well beyond the end of Stephen Curry's career, and, with a set 2-year championship window with this current roster, the team may be looking to hedge their bets at least a little bit. Therefore, Golden State may need to look somewhere else for their ideal addition this offseason.